are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So just as I finished the podcast last night, I had already been in a car accident, so my heart was already going a little bit. My blood pressure was already raised. My wife walks into the room and she's like, "We got the results of the health check. You've got high cholesterol. It's high. You need to do something about it immediately." Which almost gave me a heart attack itself. That's not the way you deliver bad news. You don't just smack people over the heads with bullshit like that. And she basically just dropped it on me and walked out. So I was sitting there and I'm like, I've got high cholesterol. How the fuck is that even possible? If I have high cholesterol, what the fuck does everyone else have? I eat once a day. What am I going to do? Reduce my fucking pumpkin seeds? I don't eat sugar. I don't eat anything. My wife was like, "You're going to have to reduce the cashew nuts you eat." I'm like, my only fucking joy in life is natural, unroasted, unsalted cashew nuts. And now I have to give them up too, like it's fucking meth. And the only other thing I really eat is I eat a few eggs. But I eat 6 eggs. I eat 4 yolks and 2 whites. So I'm like, that's not even that bad either. I was eating more eggs, but I cut down because I was like, maybe I don't need to be eating fucking 12 eggs a day. So I was sitting here, the heart was pumping. I reckon the way she dumped the "you've got high cholesterol" on me put me at like an 80% greater risk of a heart attack in that moment. Because there's not a lot of wiggle room for me. I literally don't fucking eat anything bad anymore. Maybe like once a week I'll nail 5 croissants for breakfast. So I'm like, it must be permanent damage then. Like damage from back in the day, from all those years of neglect. And I'm like, well, what the fuck am I going to do then to get my cholesterol down? My diet's perfect. I exercise. I do everything that you need to be doing. And there were insinuations that I might need to start medication. Like these statin fucking things. And I'm like, fuck that. There's only 2 pharmaceuticals I put in my body and they're both unprescribed. Ivermectin and metformin. So I was like, well, how high is it? And she sends me the results, the blood test results. So I look at the cholesterol and I'm like high, but I'm not super high. And then I sort of remembered when I'd been doing investigating on health, whenever the fuck it was, that there's like controversy surrounding cholesterol. So I'm like, fuck this. It's time to put on the doctor's hat and start YouTubing. And I swear to God, doctors, their days are numbered. Not like specialists and surgeons and emergency department fucking doctors. All these people have skills. I'm talking about GPs. Eventually, GPs are going to be replaced by a mouth swab. Of course, there's some good ones that stay up to date with fucking things, but most of them are stuck in the 1960s. They have no fucking idea what's going on. They have no idea what's going on with cholesterol. I know more about cholesterol than most doctors, and I've been studying it for about 3.5 hours. So I look at my blood test and there's 2 types of cholesterols. There's HDL and there's LDL. So I start researching these. So HDL, my HDL was high. So HDL and LDL, for starters, they're not even cholesterol. They carry the cholesterol. LDL carries cholesterol from the liver to the tissues. And then if there's any excess cholesterol, the HDL carries it from the tissues, the excess, back to the liver. So the LDL and the HDL aren't even fucking cholesterol. They carry the cholesterol. So my HDL was high, and they call that the good cholesterol because that clears out the cholesterol and takes it back to the liver. So who gives a fuck about HDL? No one. Why do they even mention that's high? Who cares? What you need to worry about is the LDL. And not even all of the LDL. There's 2 types of LDL. There's the good type of LDL, which I can't remember what the fuck its name was. Don't worry about the names of good things. Who cares? It's good. Let it do its job. But there's another type of LDL, and this is the one that causes damage. It's small, dense LDL. This is the one that blocks up your arteries and fucks you up. So I'm like, my LDL is high, But you need to take another test to see what types of LDLs you have. So I'm like, all right, I haven't done that test. How do you get these small, dense LDLs? And it's not even like a different cholesterol. So these small, dense LDLs carry the bad cholesterol that's been oxidized. And don't even worry about the fucking word oxidized. It doesn't matter. All you need to know is this: oxidization or glycation or whatever the fuck it is caused by sugar, insulin, refined carbohydrates. That's what turns the cholesterol bad and starts fucking with the arteries. The sugar. It's always the sugar, I'm telling you. And the refined carbohydrates and shit like that. But it's always the fucking sugar. So I'm like, I don't even eat sugar. I haven't eaten sugar in like fucking 16, 18 months or something. So there's no fucking oxidization going on with my fucking cholesterol. So I'm like, well, if I'm not eating sugar, then I probably don't have the bad LDLs. I don't have to worry about the HDLs. So my cholesterol is fucking fine. Then I stumbled across something else. Some guy was like, if you fast a lot, your cholesterol can be raised, the HDL can be high, the LDL can be high, and your triglycerides will be low because you're burning fat. And I'm like, what the fuck are triglycerides? And then I do a little bit of digging on triglycerides, and that's what you need to be fucking worried about, not your cholesterol. Well, you need to be worried about cholesterol if you're eating a lot of sugar and refined carbohydrates. But if you're eating a lot of that shit as well, your fucking triglycerols are going to be raised. So this is what triglycerols are. It's just the type of fat, and it gets taken to your cells, and your cells use it as energy. And if the cells don't need it, it gets stored as fat. Like belly fat, neck fat, ankle fat, fat. And high levels of triglycerides are a fucking problem. They cause heart disease, stroke, fucking pancreatitis, all sorts of shit. And basically what causes high triglycerides is being a fat fuck. Eating too much sugar, refined carbohydrates, and guess what, lucky listeners? The booze. The booze raises your fucking triglycerides hardcore. So I'm like, well, what are my triglycerides then? So I go back and I check my triglycerides, and it's 63.7, which is fucking good. Normal is up to 150. I'm at 63. So in about 2 hours of YouTubing, I went from going on statin, cholesterol lowering fucking pharmaceuticals for the rest of my life to I'm pretty much in good health. I don't have to reduce my pumpkin seeds at all. It's so fucking annoying, but also I don't think I'm out of the woods yet. I still want to check if there's some calcium in my heart and shit like that. The calcium deposits seem to be the problem. So I'm going to get a calcium scan of my heart or whatever the fuck it's called. I only found out about it like 2 hours ago. Anyway, everything else was pretty good. I was a little bit low on vitamin D. But besides that, fucking really, don't take the words of fucking doctors just on face value because they're fucking doctors. Fucking have a look around yourself because all they're going on is their dodgy fucking memory. And most of them probably just scrape through as well. Anyway, that's it for tonight. If you're enjoying the podcast, share it around with your friends and I'll see you the fuck later.